Greedy Guts by Martina Selway, published by Hutchinson. Long, long ago, there was a young boy called Jack who lived with his family and friends in a village called Wigwig. It was a beautiful village, right in the heart of the countryside, and Jack thought it the most perfect place in the world, except for one thing. Greedy Guts, the terror of their lives. Now, Greedy Guts was small for a giant, only about as tall as a house, but he was incredibly fat and mean. He never stopped eating from morning to night, and when he ran out of food, his tummy rumbles would roll across the countryside like thunder. The rumbles were followed by the stomp, stomp, stomp of giant footsteps as Greedy Guts strove over to Wigwig to grab everything he wanted. It took him so little time to reach the village that the people had to scurry home quickly to lock their windows and bolt their doors. The whole village, from the smallest child to the wisest old woman, hated and feared the giant. But what could they do? They were far too small and weak to frighten him. Even Big Frederick the blacksmith, who was so strong he could bend an iron bar with his bare hands, was not big enough to scare Greedy Guts. It was at harvest time that Greedy Guts was at his greediest. He would bring his big cart and help himself to all the stores in the great barn. He would take wheat, barley, oats, potatoes, and everything else he fancied. The giant always took the best of everything. There's nothing that can be done, sighed the villagers as they gathered up what was left. This infuriated Jack. He was determined that Greedy Guts should be stopped. But how? One day, Jack was in his special thinking place, dreaming of ways to trap the fat giant, when he looked across the field and saw a colorful line of people coming towards the village. There were horses and carts, caravans, dogs, and clowns. A fair was visiting Wigwig. Soon the whole village was buzzing with excitement. Even Jack forgot about the giant until he looked up at the acrobats towering above him. They're even taller than Greedy Guts, he thought. Suddenly, he had a brilliant idea. If all the villagers got together, maybe they could get rid of the big bully once and for all. That night, the people of Wigwig told the gypsies about the big problem, and Jack explained how the acrobats could help. After listening to his idea, the gypsies agreed to teach the young people of the village some of the tricks of their trade. It wasn't easy. The gypsies worked hard to pass on their skills, and they did not leave Wigwig until they were sure Jack's plan would work. All summer long, the youngsters practiced from dawn till dusk, learning to work together. Soon the harvest was gathered in, and it was time to celebrate. But the villagers knew that Greedy Guts would be getting hungry again. And sure enough, in the middle of their harvest supper, they heard a distant rumble, followed by the thud, thud, thud of giant footsteps. "Let's go," shouted Jack. This was the moment they'd been waiting for. The young people climbed high on top of each other, as they had been taught, while the rest of the villagers gathered tools, pots, and pans, and anything that would make a loud noise. Jack was just getting into position when the giant came striding across the fields. When Greedy Guts was near, they all roared together like a football crowd. "Go away, Greedy Guts, and never come here again!" The giant stopped in his tracks. He had never seen anyone bigger than himself before, nor so loud and fearsome. He began to tremble. Greedy Guts was frightened. Greedy Guts turned on his heels and ran. He kept on running until he was only a dot on the landscape. He never once looked back, which was fortunate because Jack was laughing so much that they all wobbled, lost their balance, and fell into a big heap. From that day on, the village was never troubled by Greedy Guts again, and the people of Wigwig lived happily ever after.